Welcome back to Lost Treasures of America, where we find treasures supposedly lost across this country and we briefly talk about them. Today we are taking a look at 5 supposedly lost treasures in the state of Hawaii. Number 1. The Burial Chamber of King Kamehameha. This one is more than a legend because, as it has always been, a king fills his life with vast, unfathomable wealth, and when he dies with his wealth. It usually goes with him to the grave. According to OnlyInYourState.com, the legendary burial chamber of the Hawaiian King Kamehameha has never been found. When the king died in 1819, he did so with a massive hoard of wealth. When the people of King Kamehameha buried his corpse, supposedly in a secret and to this day mysteriously unknown rainforest cave, it is said that an impressive collection of jewels, diamonds, pearls, and very ornate, elaborate, decorative warrior robes garnished with supposedly feathers of what are believed to be now extinct birds was buried with him. The total value of the lost treasure is incalculable at this point, but one can imagine it would change history to find. Number 2. The Lost Treasures of Kealakekua Bay. Kealakekua Bay is an absolutely gorgeous, breathtaking, jaw-dropping location that has been described as being like no other place on Earth. But along with its jaw-dropping beauty, Kealakekua Bay is packed full of history, mystery, intrigue, and apparently treasure. If you believe articles and posts found on the internet, somewhere on the island of Hawaii, on the north side of Kealakekua Bay, a rather large and valuable hoard of treasure was buried sometime roughly between the early 1700s and the late 1800s. Now, there is no real determinate amount of the wealth of the treasure that could be buried out there, but with the well-known execution of a very wealthy sailor after a misunderstanding and pirates frequenting the area for decades, one can only fathom where the treasure's origins came from and how much is actually there. But as legends go, it's still out there in the bay just waiting to be found. Number 3. The Battle of Kamehameha Way. Hawaii has a vivid, blood-stained history full of war and battle for leadership across the islands. One of the most famous battles in Hawaii's history happened in the year 1790. The Battle of Kamehameha Way between King Kamehameha's army and the Maui people was a brutal conflict that was fought over a short time at a stream which sits 3 miles to the west of Wailuku. It is said that King Kamehameha and his army invaded and slaughtered most of the Maui warriors, and then proceeded to round up their bodies before dumping their bodies near the stream. The legends tell that along with their bodies, the Hawaiians dumped the belongings of their defeated foes. It is assumed that along with their weapons, armors, and clothing, their jewelry and valuables were tossed with them. Gold, jewels, precious metals, and stones, not to mention the historical context of finding these items, would make this treasure a desirable search. Number 4. Drugs and Death in Hawaii. Even a beautiful and otherworldly place like Hawaii has had its troubles with drugs, and I don't mean the modern ones that afflict our world today. According to OnlyInYourState.com, a notorious opium smuggler named Alfred Devereaux used to smuggle goods and drugs from China to merchants who tracked it across the world. In his time, Alfred Devereaux made enemies and untrustworthy friends while frequenting the islands of Hawaii. Eventually, either a scorned enemy of Devereaux's or a shady friend who wanted Alfred's businesses and trade routes for themselves took it upon themselves to end his run, so to say. Alfred Devereaux was found dead under various suspicious and mysterious circumstances. Supposedly, sometime on one of his notorious opium runs, Alfred Devereaux detoured to the island of Koho'olave, where he buried $100,000 worth of gold and silver coins. Coins which he could never return for on account of being found dead. To this day, there is no report or legend of anyone ever finding $100,000 worth of gold and silver coins, so supposedly the treasure is still out there just waiting to be found. Number 5. The Buried Treasure of Captain Cavendish. According to preciousmetals.com, sometime in the late 1500s and early 1600s, an English privateer by the name of Captain Thomas Cavendish, also nicknamed the Navigator, may have buried a large cache of treasure at Palamano Point in the Hawaiian Islands. Being an experienced global navigator and a rather successful pirate, Captain Cavendish is said to have collected an impressive amount of valuables during his time at sea. Some legends tell of hauls including Spanish gold, silks, jewelry, precious metals like silver, and gemstones of considerable weight. The treasure, said to have been buried by the successful pirate captain, has been estimated at roughly $5 million and was buried by Cavendish for safekeeping during an unsure time. The legends say he never returned to dig up his buried loot. Dozens, if not hundreds, of adventurers have journeyed far and wide in an attempt to find the lost treasure of Captain Cavendish, but to this day it remains a lost treasure of America. Do you know of any supposedly lost treasures in America? Let us know and maybe we'll look into them. Thank you for watching and have a good day.